Hi friends, today I am show you how to make a wedding cake. Step number 1, decide on the number and shape of the cake's layers. Consider how many layers you want the cake to have and what shape you would like the layers to be in. Cakes are often round or square, but you may use a different shape for your cake layers. The number of people who will be at the wedding will make a big difference in how large the cake will need to be and how many layers your cake will need to have. For example, if you are having a close friends and family only wedding with about 20 people, then you can probably make a 10 in 25 cm double layer cake and have plenty to go around. However, if there will be upwards of 150 people at the wedding, the cake will need to have several large tiers in your cake. Calculate the amount of cake batter you will need based on the number of servings. For example, if you need a cake that will serve 50 people, and one recipe serves 20, then plan to triple the recipe. If you are not making the cake for your own wedding, then make sure to have a discussion with the bride and groom about their wishes for the cake. Step number 2, preheat the oven to the temperature indicated by your cake recipe. Many cake recipes call for the oven to be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 177 degrees Celsius, but this is not always the case. Be sure to check your cake recipe for the recommended baking temperature and then set your oven to that temperature. 1. Preheating instructions are usually given at the beginning or top section of a recipe, so look there first. Step number 3, prepare the cake batter according to your recipe's instructions. Choose a recipe to create the cake batter for your cake. You can make a different cake recipe for each layer, or just choose one recipe for the whole cake. Go with a recipe that will result in a dense cake if you plan to layer it. A recipe that results in a delicate cake is likely to crumble. Some recipes you might try include 2. Vanilla cake, chocolate cake, butter cake, red velvet poke cake. Step number 4. Pour the batter into a greased, parchment-lined cake pan. Spray your cake pan with non-stick cooking spray. Then, cut a piece of parchment or wax paper to fit the bottom of the pan and place it in the pan. Spray the parchment or wax paper with non-stick cooking spray as well. Then, pour your batter into the pan. Make sure to prepare the amount of batter that you will need to fill each of your cake pans about halfway. 3. If needed, use a spatula to spread the batter evenly in the pan. This may be necessary if the batter you are using is extra thick. If you are baking a large cake, you may want to use a special cake pan that includes a heating core. This is a smaller pan that goes in the center of your larger one, and you will also fill this pan with batter. Using a heating core will help to ensure that your cake bakes evenly. 4. Step number 5. Place the pan in the center rack of your oven and bake as instructed. Make sure that you check the suggested baking time on your recipe before you put the cake into the oven. Then, set a timer as soon as you put the cake in the oven. Remove the cake and check to see if it is done when the time is up. If the cake is still raw in the center, put it back into the oven for another 5 minutes and check again. 5. Check the center of the cake by inserting a knife or toothpick down through the center.
If it comes out clean, then the cake is done.
If it comes out with raw batter stuck onto it, then it is not done. Remove the cake from the oven and let it cool to room temperature when it is done. Step number 6, repeat for the other cake layers. If you are making a multi-tiered wedding cake, then you will need to bake multiple layers. Repeat the baking process for each of the layers you want to create. You may make the layers of your cake all the same flavor, or follow a different cake recipe for each layer. Step number 7. Freeze your cake for 1 to 2 weeks if you are baking it in advance. This will save you time, which you will need to make the filling and frosting for the cake, and then to decorate it. 6. Wrap the entire cooled cake in 6 layers of plastic wrap and then 2 layers of foil. Place it in your freezer and take it out a few hours before you decorate it. 7. Keep in mind that a thicker cake will take longer to defrost, so give the cake plenty of time to fully defrost before serving.